สดขึ้น say you need your space, then pull me close. I read your silence, louder than most. One day you're warm, the next day you're cold. Got me second guessing what I already know. I give you love, but you ration yours. You open up just to close the door. I stay up late, trying to read your mind. I can't read your mind, but your love got rules that change all the time. Why are you always halfway in? Got me drowning when I know I could swim. If you love me, baby, say it with your chest. Yeah, tired of the maybes, I just want a yes. Don't play me like a song on spin. If you ride for me, then ride to the end. Don't wanna love this paper thin, so why you always halfway in? You hit me up when the nights get slow, but then disappear when the highs get low. I ain't your maybe, tell me what it is, 'cause I'm way too grown to be messing with a love like this. I give you love, but you ration yours. You open up just to close the door. You stay closing doors. I stay up late, trying to read your mind. I can't read your mind, but your love got rules that change all the time. Changing all the time. Why are you always halfway in? Got me drowning when I know I could swim. If you love me, baby, say it with your chest. Yeah, tired of the maybes, I just want a yes. Don't play me like a song on spin. If you ride for me, then ride to the end. Don't wanna love this paper thin, so why you always halfway in? Why you always halfway in? Got me drowning when I know I could swim. If you love me, baby, say it with your chest. Yeah, tired of the maybes, I just want a yes. Don't play me like a song on spin. If you ride for me, then ride to the end. Don't wanna love this paper thin, so why you always halfway in?
Writing in the margins of my mind all day, sipping herbal in the morning just to feel okay. Had a dream I was water just flowing through space, till I landed on the record that my grandma would play. Talk sweet like jazz in the park after rain. What the grass smell green and the air feels safe. Put the phone on mute, let the silence explain. I don't need much, just a book in the brain. Used to chase things that were run from me. Now I sit still, let the peace come free. Paint a verse in the sky with a loose leaf. While the moon do a dance with a soft oak tree. Let it ride, let it be what it be. Got a breeze in my chest and a thought run free. I don't rush, I don't race, I just float on three. Got a vibe in my soul, got a life on key. Let it ride, let it breathe, let it roll like that. Got the world in my cup and the beat in the back. I don't stress, I don't fold, I just lean on facts. If the sun don't shine, I'ma still bounce back. I've been good, I've been gone, I've been lost in the loops. Got a hoodie and some headphones, walking with troops. Ain't no answers in the feed, just noise and flex. But I found God once in a vinyl set. Talk slow when I speak, let the moment stretch. Learn peace ain't found, it's a thing you protect. Yeah, I vibe like water, I change a shift. But the roots still deep like my grandma's grits. City move fast, but I drift like smoke. Let the rhythm in my chest be the way I cope. Wrote a song for the days that feel soft and broke. Why the healing don't shout, but it still got hope. Let it ride, let it be, let it be what it be. Got a breeze in my chest and a thought run free. I don't rush, I don't race, I just float on three. Got a vibe in my soul, got a life on key. Let it ride, let it breathe, let it roll like that. Got the world in my cup and the beat in the back. I don't stress, I don't fold, I just lean on facts. If the sun don't shine, I'ma still bounce back. Let it ride, let it breathe, let it be what it be. Got a breeze in my chest and a thought run free. I don't rush, I don't race, I just float on three. Got a vibe in my soul, got a life on key. Let it ride, let it breathe, let it roll like that. Got the world in my cup and the beat in the back. I don't stress, I don't fold, I just lean on facts. If the sun don't shine, I'ma still bounce back.
Quay làm gì đó.
Không còn nữa mà nào mà bán. Chào.
và hỗ trợ chuyên nghiệp.
เ